Sinner gives up against Alcaraz, world number 1 is already impossible. The Italian, who makes his debut in Paris this Wednesday against Bergs, bids farewell to the top of the ATP ranking. This year, it's no longer in my hands, he said. Italian Jannik Sinner no longer believes he can take the world number 1 spot from Spain's Carlos Alcaraz this season, even though mathematically he still has a chance to do so during the Paris Masters 1000, the last of the year. World number 1 is already impossible. I'm not thinking about it right now, it'll be a goal for next year. This year, it's no longer in my hands. Given the great season I've had, with fantastic successes, what I want is to finish the season in the best possible way. If I can achieve something big, great, if not, that's fine, said the world number 2 in Paris, where he will make his debut this Wednesday in the last Masters 1000 of the year against Belgian's Bergs. Sinner said he is very satisfied with the season he's had and mentioned that he is looking forward to the end of it so he can start thinking about the next one, during which he plans to make some changes to his game to adapt to different situations. The Italian confirmed that he will not participate in the Davis Cup, a decision he had already announced, and said he does not intend to change. On the eve of his Paris debut, Sinner stated that the Wimbledon final is the moment he feels most proud of from the past season, calling it fantastic. I've played many finals, and I played very well at Roland Garros. But the season isn't over yet, said the Italian, who aims to win in Paris and defend his title at the ATP Finals in Turin, which features the year's top 8 players. Striking message from Alcaraz before debuting in Paris. Carlos Alcaraz, facing his least favorable court, there are others who are better than me. The world number 1 will debut against Norrie at the Paris Masters 1000, a tournament where he has never gone beyond the quarterfinals. After withdrawing from the Shanghai Masters 1000 following his Tokyo win, Carlos Alcaraz arrives at the Paris Masters 1000 much more rested than usual. It's the last tournament of the year before the ATP Finals and the Davis Cup. In the French capital, where the Mercian has twice touched glory at Roland Garros, he has also lived his particular indoor nightmare. Carlitos has never made it past the quarterfinals in the Masters. In 2021 he reached the round of 16, in 2022 achieved his best result, in 2023 lost in his debut, and in 2024 fell again in the round of 16. I don't think I'm bad at playing indoor, but there are others who are better than me. The Paris tournament hasn't gone well for me, but I'm getting more and more used to playing on this surface, he said at a press conference. However, with this year's change of venue and a much slower court, Alcaraz dreams of reaching at least the semi-finals, which would guarantee him the number 1 spot. The court is totally different from last year's, it's slower, and it will allow for more rallies. It won't all depend on the serve, we'll be able to show our tennis, he explained. Although Alcaraz has beaten Norrie 5 out of 7 times, his indoor statistics reveal the difficulties he faces. On indoor courts, he wins 70.5% of his matches, while on grass, 89.7%, clay, 84.4%, and outdoor hard courts, 83.1%, his effectiveness is much higher. Unexpected change for Alcaraz before his Paris debut. Carlos Alcaraz's best-kept secret to fix his weak point? Carlos Alcaraz has some weak points, and one of them is playing on fast indoor courts. To fix this, he has built a court in El Palmar replicating the same conditions he'll face in tournaments like this week's Paris Masters 1000. It's hard to think of a weakness in Carlos Alcaraz's game. The Mercian is the world number 1, and much of that is due to his near-perfect tennis machine. At just 22 years old, he has refined his game like few others at that age, and after winning multiple titles, including 6 Grand Slams, the only thing you can say about him is the sky's the limit. But as with everything, there's always room for improvement, and in his case, it's the surface that has historically given him the most trouble. Like most Spanish players, he grew up on clay, where his game flows naturally. He's also excelled on grass, becoming a master in a very short time. But if there's one place he struggles, it's on fast courts, especially indoors. A very well-kept secret. The excessive speed usually found on these courts prevents him from fully developing his game, which has made the end-of-season stretch difficult, especially at the Paris Masters 1000 and the ATP Finals, 2 tournaments still missing from his trophy cabinet. To change that, he has taken a drastic step, building an indoor hard court in El Palmar to prepare for such events. This court, built by the Carlos Alcaraz Academy inside a warehouse near his hometown, is designed specifically for him. His team prefers not to reveal the location, to protect his privacy. The facility also includes a gym, physiotherapy area, and locker rooms, allowing him to train while spending more time at home. In fact, he now spends more time in El Palmar than in Vienna, at Juan Carlos Ferrero's academy, where he trained for many years. Carlos Alcaraz on the schedule before debuting at the Paris Masters 1000. The number of tournaments we have to play is too high. The issue of the ATP calendar is nothing new. Several players have recently complained about the large number of tournaments and matches they must play with barely any rest. Now, as the season nears its end, fatigue is accumulating. One of the most vocal critics is the world's top-ranked male player, Carlos Alcaraz. The Spaniard, focused on the Paris Masters 1000, the year's last tournament, once again expressed his opinion on the schedule. "I don't have an exact number of matches we should play, I can't give a figure, but they obviously have to do something about the calendar," said the Mercian before his debut in Paris. "The number of tournaments we have to play is too high. We don't have enough time to train and rest. Even during the season, it's week after week, and we don't get the chance to have a week to properly prepare for the tournaments or what's ahead in the season," said Carlos. Carlos Alcaraz already has a date for his debut in Paris. Carlos Alcaraz already has a date for his debut at the 2025 Paris Masters 1000, where he's fighting to secure the number 1 ranking until the end of the season. Carlos Alcaraz continues pursuing his main goal for the remainder of the year, keeping the world number 1 spot. Just months after reclaiming it, the Mercian has it within reach, although the injury he suffered at the ATP 500 in Tokyo forced him to miss Shanghai and lose key points that could have nearly secured it. Now, however, he'll have to work harder than expected, as he faces the stretch of the season that has historically been the most difficult for him, the European indoor hard-court swing. The Paris Masters 1000 and the ATP Finals will decide the battle between Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner for the year-end number 1 ranking. In the French capital, Alcaraz has already begun training, 3 sessions at the new La Défense Arena, which replaces Bercy's Accor Arena. He's practiced with Karen Khachanov, Arthur Rinderknecht, and Jiří Lehecka. He's noticed that the new court is slower, something that drastically improves his chances, but one step at a time, as he must debut first. A tough debut. Alcaraz, the top seed, will play his first match this Tuesday, October 28, against the winner of the match between Sebastián Baez and Cameron Norrie. As one of the 2 Masters 1000 tournaments that still follow a 1-week format, Baez and Norrie will play on Monday, with the winner facing Alcaraz. The good news for the world number 1 is that, if he wins, he'll rest on Wednesday before playing the round of 16, but from then on, he'll play every day until the final. Paris is one of the only 3 Masters 1000 tournaments that Alcaraz hasn't won yet, along with Canada and Shanghai. Winning here would guarantee him the number 1 ranking until the Australian Open, closing the year with that honor. Even if he doesn't win, reaching the final would be enough to secure it and stop Sinner's push. Alcaraz and Sinner set to meet in South Korea before the Australian Open. According to South Korean outlet The Chosen Daily, the Spaniard and the Italian will face each other in the Hyundai Card Supermatch exhibition on January 10. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner already have a new date to face each other again on court. While they may still meet officially in the Paris Masters 1000 or the ATP Finals, they will definitely play in an exhibition match in South Korea just before the Australian Open. According to The Chosen Daily, the Hyundai Card Super Match will take place on January 10 at the Inspire Arena in Incheon. Although there's no official confirmation from the organizers yet, both Alcaraz and Sinner posted on social media this Wednesday an image featuring their signatures and the Hyundai Card Super Match logo, along with the same message, "See you in Korea." Even though it's just an exhibition, tennis fans can look forward to a guaranteed Alcaraz-Sinner clash to kick off 2026, ahead of a possible official showdown at the Australian Open, the only Grand Slam where they've never met.